It's time for the entertainment and lifestyle where we get to learn and develop ourselves personally. And that's what we're going to have today. An interesting conversation that you don't want to miss any minute of this conversation. My name is Dennis Osejenfi. We're grateful to our Facebook, viewers as well on TV Africa, Ghana. That's where we're streaming. You can leave your thoughts and comments there. But I'll be interested in your messages in this conversation because it's about personal development. Gentlemen, I'm going to have a conversation with started off this particular subject from last week. He's a very deep thinking person that you'd want to, engage and also want to listen to, because there's a lot in him. Even though looks very young, it doesn't look his age at all, what he has in him. I'm very much impressed with the little encounter I've had in him. Enoch is a personal development coach, and he's our guest this morning. We're having a conversation on finance, how to develop our personal finance in this challenging economy. Enoch, good morning.
Good morning, Dennis.
Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
You are a mighty man. Mighty man.
I see.
Mighty man. Hope you're fine.
I'm doing well.
Yes. Let's begin the conversation. Economic situation and the personal challenges that people go through. I know that last week we began this conversation. First off, where do we pick it from? How do we situate ourselves in a national economy as individuals?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. When it comes to personal finance, it's something that is really dear to my heart because, as I keep saying, at the center of every aspect of your life is the personal finance. In the same way, when you go to the national level, if you look at the conversation, it's all about finance. Ghana's debt, Ghana's economy. It's all about how we handle our finances. If you go into any corporate setup, finances is also playing a key role. And so for me, I move from this conversation from the corporate and then national level. And I want the individual to pay attention to his or her finance. Because if you're a young guy between the age of maybe 20, 40, whatever dream that you are building, whatever future that you aspire, whatever quality of life you are looking for, at the center is your personal finance. Of course, the usual narrative, which I keep, challenging, is that we always think that the national economy should drive or should dictate our personal finance or personal economics. This is where I always take a nuanced approach, and I'm trying to challenge that assumption that, hey, even though you are in a country called Ghana, the environment is very challenging. The economic environment is very challenging. You don't have to give up, or you don't have to give in to the challenges. You can still build whatever personal financial infrastructure that you desire, even in a challenging economy.
Is it not easier said than you don't have to give up? You talk about the fact that in this Ghana, that people think they've even graduated from school, they're not getting job. It's telling me to build my personal finance. How do I build my personal finance? What's the source of revenue? How do I even build it? I don't have a job.
All right. I get this question a lot. People talking about, I don't have, looking at this, because of this. Why do you think I can do this? This is where I always say that we need to change the conversation. Why am I saying we need to change the conversation? You rightly stated, you've completed school, you don't have a job. Last week, I stated that there are 3 streams of cash. If you want to build your financial infrastructure, the job is the first thing. For most of us, we cannot start business right from school. We don't have what it takes to start a business. For majority of young Ghanaians, the entry point is the job level. But again, the statistics do not also look good when it comes to the job statistics. There are so many people who have graduated chasing jobs. That's also another question.
The national statistics indicate that over 2 million Ghanaian youth are unemployed.
Good. This is where as a personal development coach, I take a nuanced approach that why do you use general statistics to define what you want out of this life? Normally, when I get into some of these conversations, those who are complaining we don't have a job, if you were to pick, let's say, 10 youth in Ghana who are complaining about job, sit them down, profile them, do their skills and capacity audit, ask them how they have built their capacities, how they are ready. The only readiness that they will talk of is their certification. The fact that you have a certificate in marketing, the fact that you have BSc in communication does not make you qualify to find your space in the job market.
Is that not enough?
It's not enough.
I was told to just go to school, and that is all my parents have told me, and everybody in the society have told me, go to school and become somebody. I've been able to go through the system by going to school. I've earned the right certificates, and that is not enough for me to be somebody.
With the certification, assuming you do marketing, take that year, your year of completion, you are graduating with thousands of students with the same certification. Not to talk of the backlog of students who have completed for the last 5 years, who are also holding the same certificates. And you are chasing this particular position. And that is where I keep saying that if you allow the educational system to dictate your pace of capacity building, then you're going to be limited. Because again, why do you take a standardized approach to define your uniqueness? Because there are so many of us, what we did is not a true reflection of who you're supposed to be. And that's how come, if you're listening to most of the stories of people who are even making it in various industries, most of them were people who moved from even the courses that they did in school. Majority of them did not pursue what they did on campus. Some people said, I was doing medicine at a point in time. I felt that medicine was not good for me, so I left and I did it, and I pursued, areas of my interest. So again, how well you know yourself as an individual, how well you are aware of your capacities, and how you are committed to building it. Now the world is so competitive in such that when you graduate from school, you need to get it at the back of your mind that nobody is under obligation to employ you. You don't deserve job just because you have graduated. You earn the position by making sure you build your capacities, extra capacities beyond the certification. How many of us go for programs? I keep telling people that if you're looking for a job, you should have a job plan. How many of us know what a job plan is? Just as you want to do business, you design a business plan. How many of us know what a job plan is? Give me a profile of your skills and competency. What are your skills gap? How are you honing your capacities? You don't want to take time for yourself. You just want to be on the go. Who is going to employ you? Nobody's going to invest money in huge sums of money in business and go and pick you just because you have a certificate. It's not going to work that way. The conversation has to be changed. You have to own your development. Yes, I've completed school. What is life having in stock for me? What do I need to do? Who am I? Who is Dennis? What capacity could I build? Why am I existing in this 21st century, specifically within the 2000s? What are capacities that I can develop? What is happening around? What opportunities can I explore? The moment you start having this empowering conversation, you now start thinking in a different way. But if you're going to go by the national statistics and all the statistics that are being thrown at you, and then you go about rationalizing your way to your own disempowerment. Why do you look for facts that empower you? That's what I keep telling people. There are a lot of people in prison who have been sentenced to prison on the basis of the facts that were presented. But later, it turned out that the truth came out. So not every fact is true, even though every truth is factual.
The questions that you were asking, why are you in this, generation? Why were you born this time? Why am I here on earth? Don't you need guidance to be able to answer these questions? Is that not why our national ecosystem has failed us? Because it is not providing us with that guidance. Even in schools, you rightly said, people enter some courses and they realize that that's not their course. Even the guidance to choose the right things to do to suit what is, internally built in that person is a problem. Is that not the guidance that we need? The system is failing us, guide the people towards the right path.
I think this is an intelligent question. And this question exposes, or it brings to the fore, one of the fundamental errors that we have in our thinking pattern. The over-reliance on system. We always think that the system that has been designed should be able to do this. Our over-reliance on the system is becoming our bane. So like you're saying, today there are a lot of programs. Do you know that most of us wouldn't want to go into the process of even getting what they want? That is why I'm saying that with my line of work, as you were saying, there are so many people living on TikTok, on various social media. You advertise that, hey, you're looking for a job. There is a program that can help you, maybe Job Value Connect or whatever. You can meet some minds and have certain conversations maybe for the next 6 months. And that will now shape certain perspectives that you have, so that wherever you want to get to, you can get the right information about that. ask yourself, how many people are even willing to patronize this program? You can run, let's say, a career or capacity building programs. There are a lot of programs like this around, but they will tell you when you go there, what are you going to get? And we don't have money. But ask the person who is talking that he doesn't have money. He's having an iPhone that costs more than thousands of Ghana cedi. Every single day he buys credit to feed himself, getting access to social media. Ask the average Ghanaian who doesn't have work. Let's do an audit about their spending pattern, data on the phone that they use. You can see that, yes, you ask yourself, why do they have money? You see, when you are so hungry for something, excuse doesn't become part of your vocabulary. You know, and that is why I keep telling people that excuse is very dangerous, because you are going to find right reasons why you can't do something. Excuse is never based on wrong reasons. You always give excuses on the basis of good reasons. The system is not doing this. The system is not teaching. What makes you think that it's the government that has to do everything? There are people who are endowed with wisdom. They can teach you. There are consultancies springing all over. Why are you not taking advantage of them? Some of us are also here. We always here. Sharing our thoughts on Facebook. Can you imagine the number of people who get into contact with that? Few. The person who is going through the problem doesn't know that to solve the problem, every problem solving starts with a cost. Problem solving is not free. If you want to solve any problem, the first principle that comes with problem solving is that it's going to cost you.
Absolutely. I don't want us to move away from the topic of building our financial infrastructure.
But it's key. This is foundational.
Yes, and I know that there's topic in topic. And
that's right.
We want to get in.
That's right.
But let's get back to it. You mentioned the 3 streams of income, and for the average Ghanaian, you say that it will start with a job level, and that is what degenerated into this conversation of getting job. But what are the other 2? I'm able to find a job. Sometimes even the jobs are not well paying.
That's right.
So all the jobs you have to find are sort of receiving income. Is that the only source? Job. Avenues.
Again, last week I touched on the jobs. You see, you rightly stated that all the jobs that you get are not paying. You see, this is another mindset that most of us have. Last week I stated that your primary reason for picking a job should not only be for earning. You see, if you are someone who has designed your long-term vision for, let's say, the next 40 years, if you are in your 20s, I always encourage people to look into their 60 when you are 20, or at least look at your 40. If you design your 40-year plan for your life, which of course, the problem that we have at the personal level is what we see at the national level. Our leaders are not planning. They don't have plan for the future. They don't have plan for Ghana. Do you have 20-year plan for yourself? You don't have. And so if you really have a very good plan for your life, and you see that at this point you have to take a job, then you will know that a job mostly is a stepping stone towards that future you want to build. And when that happens, it's not only the earning, but the capacities that you are building.
Okay.
When you came here as Dennis to TV Africa, you were not the Dennis today. Of course, you have been proved. You have built certain relationships. You have built certain networks, and you have grown in terms of capacity. That is a leverage for other things. So you see, our whole perception on job, we really have to look at it.
About the money.
It's a full conversation on that.
That's very important.
It's a full conversation on that. But apart from job, that's where we talk about entrepreneurship, businesses. Now you are dealing with people who are struggling even to find their entry into the job space. How then do you talk about they starting their business? They don't even have the capacity to work for somebody. How then can you talk to them to start their own business? And that's how come most of the entrepreneurship programs that we are having in Ghana here, start your own business, is not really working, because we are not looking at it critically. There are people who have that innate drive. For them, it's an innate drive towards that direction. Some of us are wired to go on that path. Others will join the path because of the information that they will be exposed to. So that's the second one. And the third one is your investing activities. But of course, money plays key role in all these streams. Because like I said, you are the source. Contrary to the popular notion that these 3 streams are the sources of your income, I don't see these as the sources. I see them as streams. Because last week I stated that you are flowing through this job because you have built your capacities, you have built all your potentials, and you are flowing through this job. And at the end of the money flows through you here. So if you are building your your skills as a medical professional or whatever, you will need a hospital as a job to flow through. But at the end of the day, those who are able to move from the job to build their own specialist hospitals, they move from job to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
That's how come most of the doctors who are doing well at the latter part of their life are those who build their own private clinics, because then what they were doing in the job level has now become an entrepreneurial capacity. They've built their specialist hospital and they are doing very well.
Enoch, because I have quite a lot.
Because
even with the entrepreneurship system, I've realized a trend.
That's right.
Now everybody says they're entrepreneur, and all they do is sell.
That's right.
I don't know if there's a set design for being an entrepreneur, or it's allowed in that space, because everybody wants to. I saw my friends selling, for instance, wigs, and then you see it's popping up on all. Oh, I'm also selling wigs. I'm also selling bags. I mean, is that encouraging?
I think that's
following that trend, following the bandwagon.
That's a very good observation. I call it trade entrepreneurship. You see, for me, I spend time to teach industrial entrepreneurship. In that, there are various levels of entrepreneurship, but for me, I pay attention to industrial entrepreneurship, where I look for certain minds. Last week when I left here, I had an encounter with one guy. When I went into his space, he runs a guest house. But when I went to the place and I saw how he had actually decorated the place, I told my friend, I want to speak to this guy. I think there's something about him. By observing the space and how he has designed the cafeteria and where people sit and spend time, I saw a pattern. I saw a certain level of thinking that went into that. So I requested to see him. And when he came and we started conversation, the guy opened up. And I never knew that there was a distillery in the house. The guy has built one of the finest distilleries, and I see him to be one of the finest minds in the next 10 years. He's an industrial entrepreneur. So you see, he's built a system that can even absorb most people looking for jobs. So you see, there are pockets of individuals, but because most of us, sales are short-term stuff. The average African is not raised to be long-term thinker. Trading entrepreneurship has its place because it's a short-term thing that can make you generate certain quick cash. But then, industrial entrepreneurship is also there. There are various forms of entrepreneurship. And so that is why whatever I talk about, I specify. So for me, if I'm teaching entrepreneurship, I talk about industrial entrepreneurship. People who have the mindset to start industry. And that's what a politician talk about, industrialization. Because you cannot bring the best industrialization policy when you don't have industrial entrepreneurs in the country.
Okay. Deep. Enoch, I'm coming. I have to do this because we have to be wrapping up, unfortunately.
Sure.
Too. That's what I'm saying, that it's topic built on topic, and it's deep. It's deep, and that's why this series doesn't end. Every Tuesday we're going to have this series with Enoch Boate, who's a personal development coach, right here with us. So you have to be on the Breakfast Live show every Tuesday if you want to learn and develop yourself for the future. He will be giving out his social media accounts as well, so that you can contact him. I know we are scratching the surface. Yeah. there are a lot more we have to get to. So this series will continue. We'll be wrapping up on today's conversation, but of course we can't wrap up without hearing from Enoch his final words for us, and then he also give out his contact details, especially on social media. Only contacting on social media, I'm sure that you'll be able to get all the response you want to get. Enoch, time is always been a cost factor, but let's get to wrap up. Even though we still scratch the surface, there's still more. I'm interested in this conversation, seriously, and there's still more on my mind, and it is addressing the issues of today's youth. How we are giving up. Everybody thinks that traveling is the solution, but you're giving us an insight to the fact that even staying here can work for us.
That's right.
So let's wrap up for today. I know that next week we will continue with this conversation.
Sure. Well, I think my final words will be that, you see, you've got to be in charge. You are here primarily to find yourself, develop yourself, so you can find your highest form of self-expression. That is your assignment here on earth. The human self is unbounded possibilities waiting for you to discover. But you see, the narrative has been that we want somebody to do it for us. Nobody can be interested in your life more than you. When it comes to your life, you are in charge. And don't will your development in the hands of anybody, not the government, not the system around. Take charge. And if you want to do that, there are ways to do that. And that is where you get in touch with some of us. Probably we can help.
How do we get in touch?
All right. On TikTok, my name is en.boatin on TikTok. On Facebook is Enoch Owusu-Boateng. LinkedIn, Enoch Owusu-Boateng. Instagram is on Enoch Owusu-Boateng.
Do you spell it in a special way?
Enoch is Enoch. If you go to Threads, it's still Enoch Owusu-Boateng. Twitter is Enoch Owusu-Boateng.
So all the handles apart from TikTok,
that is
en.boating. TikTok is en.boating.
That's right.
And the rest Enoch Owusu-Boateng. And I'm sure that you are responsive. When
sure, very responsive.
So get involved, build your personal self, and develop yourself. He's talked about the fact that we need to develop ourselves and be interested in developing yourself more than anybody else. We like blaming too much.
That's right.
We like shifting blame. So because my mother didn't take me to school, because the government is not working, because today we are learning that.
That's right.
We can only blame ourselves.
That's right.
Enoch Owusu-Boateng is the handle on social media platforms. Get in touch and then get to develop yourself. Thank you very much, Enoch.
Thank you, Dennis.
The time hasn't been, but I mean, as it continues, by the time the year ends, we will be developed.
Sure.
My name is Dennis Oseja, starting for Precious Piadala, Precious Speedy Recovery to you. We will see you tomorrow, Wednesday, with more here on the Breakfast Live. Until then, stay safe, choose hope over fear. Good morning, Ghana. Security for there be messy.